Hello everyone, Casey here, and welcome to my review for the Nintendo Switch. The Nintendo Switch released on March 3rd, 2017, and is Nintendo's newest entry into the console race. But unlike most consoles, the Switch is designed from the ground up to be different. Keep note that I said different and not necessarily portable. However, the Switch is, technically speaking, a portable system as well. But more on that in just a minute. The Switch makes it easy to play on a TV, and if needed, instantaneously switch to a portable mode via connecting the individual Joy-Con controllers to the system itself and simply lifting it out of the dock. Every element of the Switch is built sturdy and feels premium, well, almost everything. The kickstand located on the back of the Switch is extremely flimsy, and the way it's positioned makes it nearly impossible to sit on any soft or even semi-soft surfaces. The Joy-Con controllers slide into the Switch on a solid metal rail, which feels like it'll last a very long time before any sort of wear or tear starts to show. The display of the Switch is 720p and is covered by a plastic screen. While I understand why Nintendo chose plastic instead of glass, to keep younger players safe in case you drop it and ultimately help it resist cracking, the screen does feel a little cheap when being pressed. I personally almost immediately purchased a glass screen protector, not because it only feels better, but to keep the system safe, as I've heard rumors and seen pictures that the standard plastic screen scratches extremely easy, even to the point where simply docking the Switch into the dock itself enough times will scratch the edge of the display. When docked, however, the Switch ups the resolution of the games to 1080p, making for a surprisingly crisp and clean experience, most of the time. Now, as many of you know if you watch my channel, I consider myself to be a PC gamer through and through. I've bought the Xbone in the past, played it for a few days for Halo 5, and then quickly proceeded to sell it because, well, Halo 5 sucked, and honestly I didn't see any real point in having an Xbox One and a gaming PC. So I was a bit hesitant to pick up the Switch. But something about it was calling to me. It seemed just so unique that I had to get my hands on one to see it for myself. I held off though, and continued to do so for a while, until I saw my buddy Tarks Gauntlet live streaming some Switch gameplay. I finally broke and ordered a Switch that very night for a steeper than normal price on Amazon, as these little bastards are nearly impossible to find still, even months after its release. When I plugged it in, not only did I find myself enjoying the Switch and its so-called gimmicks, but I was actually playing it more than my PC. That seemed crazy to me when I realized it, but sure enough, it's true. While I am enjoying my time with the Switch quite a lot, it isn't a perfect system. It has its own set of flaws, some of which are pretty noticeable, such as the Switch coming with only 32 gigs of internal storage. Luckily though, it can be expanded rather painlessly with a micro SD card slot that is located behind the flimsy kickstand. The Switch is also underpowered compared to the Goliaths currently on the market, such as the PS4 and Xbox One. But then again, Nintendo really hasn't intended to be the most powerful system out there in the recent years. They're much more content giving you an experience that you can only have with a Nintendo system. This doesn't mean that the games look bad or run slowly. In fact, most games that I've played look bright, clear, and run at a smooth 60 frames per second. Even Breath of the Wild, which is easily the most demanding game for the Switch right now, looks absolutely beautiful, even with its occasional slowdowns under heavy action. The Switch also charges via a USB-C connection, which is awesome that Nintendo finally is going away from proprietary charging solutions. But for some reason, the charging port is located on the bottom of the system, meaning that you can't charge the system in tabletop mode while playing it. The Joy-Con controllers themselves, while high in quality, are a little bit small, at least for my giant hands, and when playing with the Joy-Cons and the Joy-Con grip, the buttons are aligned in a perfectly vertical fashion, making it slightly difficult to reach certain buttons while playing certain games. Even if it doesn't sound like it, these complaints at the end of it all are really quite minor and haven't taken away from any of my experiences too much, if at all. But I felt I should mention them regardless. Now, the main selling point of the Switch is the fact that it's not just a home console you can play on the TV, but is also a mobile system that you can take with you on the go. I personally almost never play the Switch as a mobile console. In fact, while filming this review was the first time I ever even took it outside of my house. So what I'm saying is that I don't think it's fair of me to review the mobile aspect of the Switch. Instead, I'm going to let the aforementioned Tarks Gauntlet take over this part.
What's up, guys? So you're interested in getting the Switch? Well, you've come to the right place. Basket and I will surely give you our honest opinions. It's the newest, hottest thing on the market. It's a home console and it's a handheld, but I'll be completely honest with you. It performs one of those tasks a lot better than it performs the other. If the portability factor is something that you're interested in the Switch for, let's cover a couple bases. First of all, are you a 3DS or Vita owner? And do you use them on a regular basis? I happen to use both quite frequently. And because of this, the time I regularly allot to on-the-go gaming is eaten up completely, and the Switch almost serves no purpose outside of my home. But there aren't too many Vita owners out there, so I acknowledge I am a little bit in a minority here. If you're somebody who will have time for this on the go, let's move right along to base number 2, the actual portability of the Switch. If you're as old as me or a little bit older, you might remember the Sega Game Gear. Now, when you were growing up, when's the last time you remember somebody pulling one out of their pocket? Chances are you don't, because the Sega Game Gear was simply too big. I bring up the Sega Game Gear because the Switch is of a very comparable size. When the Switch is fully together, it's actually bigger than the Sega Game Gear. Because of the size of the Switch and the nature of its build not being a clamshell system, a carrying case is going to be a necessity. This is an extra expense in addition to the Switch itself. Also, due to the size of it, it's a little awkward to take out in some situations, such as public transit. Normally, if you sit down on a bus, you can just take out a 3DS or a Vita, and you can relegate the system to a very small space. With a Nintendo Switch, it's going to be a little bit harder to keep yourself compact to one small area, and you might find yourself hitting elbows with the people sitting next to you. Again, not the most portable system in the world, but it is still an option. It's really important we don't overstate the fact that this is portable, but let's not understate it either, and I don't intend to do that. Where I find I'm using the Switch most often in portable mode is simply right here in my house. Maybe I'm playing some Breath of the Wild or some Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It's getting close to bedtime, I should probably go lay down, but I'm not quite tired enough to go to sleep yet, and I don't want to stop playing the game. So what do? Simple. Rather than lugging a 10-pound box upstairs, pop in the Joy-Cons, go up to your bedroom, lay down in the bed, play for another half hour, drop the system on your nightstand and go to bed. Also, let's say you don't want to stop playing your game, but it's time to cook something, and what you're gonna cook might require a little bit of extra attention. Just put the Switch into portable mode and take it to the kitchen with you. Play some games while you cook. Honestly, I didn't see myself using the Switch much in portable mode at first when I first got it, but there was one night I went to bed with Bomberman in. I played for 10 to 20 minutes, went to bed, woke up in the morning, popped open the little kickstand on the back of the Switch, and passed one of the Joy-Cons to my fiance, and we played some multiplayer Bomberman before even getting out of bed. And that thing you see in the Switch commercials where people are meeting on rooftops or in public places to play multiplayer Switch games? I hate to admit it, but that is something that actually happens. It looks cheesy, but it is a really cool ability to have with your system. Unfortunately, the Switch battery life does not lend itself too well to portable mode. Most games will not last more than 3 hours in portable mode, and this means bringing another thing along with you in your carrying case, a USB charger. It is great that this charges via USB, but as stated, this is one more thing to bring around with you. So, if 3 hours on the go is enough time for you, and I think for the average person it is, if you're not too worried about the size of the Switch, or the extra expense of a carrying case to bring it around with you, then definitely pick this up as a handheld. But outside of being an on-the-go handheld, the portability factor still comes in pretty strong at home.
Thanks, Tarks. Be sure to check out his channel, guys. He does a lot of great reviews and other content. So, in conclusion, the Nintendo Switch is an amazing little console that has a lot going for it. It's portable, multiplayer friendly, and is really the only system on the market that is really going after the couch multiplayer scene, which is really nice to see again finally. The Switch kicks quite a bit of ass in the areas that it does well in, but the areas it stumbles, it is pretty noticeable. But even with some of these issues, I've had a lot of fun with my Switch. And I suspect I'll be having a lot more fun with the Switch in the future as bigger and more exciting games are just around the corner, such as Splatoon 2 and Super Mario Odyssey. So my final score for the Nintendo Switch is an 8 out of 10. A fantastic and fun system, especially for local multiplayer gaming, that is only slightly held back by a few odd design choices. I hope you liked our review for the Nintendo Switch. If you did, please be sure to click that thumbs up button and subscribe to stay up to date with my latest videos and reviews. Well, until next time, guys.